Hi, my name is Vamsi Sisla. In this video, I cover some of the fundamental first principles of cloud operations. The session will cover various steps and processes as part of your role as a cloud administrator. This session covers general concepts without addressing any vendor-specific concepts and methodologies. And even if I did, those would be at a very high level. One of the first things you do as a cloud administrator is do massive amount of pre-planning. The first step as part of the pre-planning is to come up with a deployment plan. As I say, cloud operations is really a marathon, not a sprint. It's very much akin to like a conductor for an orchestra. You need to really learn about your business needs and map those business needs to the resources that you have access to within the cloud vendor's infrastructure. You need to understand the amount of file space you need, amount of storage you need. Do you need to do partitioning, and why would you need to do partitioning? Amount of memory you need, number of instances you need to run, and how many of them should run simultaneously. How many load balancers do you need? Understand what kind of policies you need to set in place when in situations such as high traffic periods and phases, and also during low traffic times. You need to understand your software requirements, your business software requirements, to map again back to the operating systems, the coding frameworks, implementation frameworks, the libraries that you need to install in your cloud infrastructure, the type of web services, servers you need, and so forth. It's also very critical for you to understand your legacy applications and what kind of dependencies there are in running those, and make sure that you map them before you migrate to the cloud. Not only legacy, you also need to have a strong understanding of your product and technology roadmap to make sure that your infrastructure is capable of supporting future applications, future versions of your applications, and their deployments. Configuration is also very critical. And configuration is not just about your application configuration, but also network configuration. The biggest difference further in the cloud operations role is your need to understand the geographical footprint of your user base. In the traditional pre-cloud era, businesses had their network and server administrators in local geographics, so they didn't have to map and plan user traffic from various different geographies. Whereas as a cloud administrator, you need to be aware of your user footprint. Especially this helps you to optimize your infrastructure settings, write the right policies, and reduce your cost of operations, or else you'll end up spending a lot of resources and money on the data usage and network throughput and so forth. So as part of the pre-planning, understand the SLAs that are being provided by the vendor. Understand the service uptime and what kind of service level agreements they are agreeing to. As you might know, having 6 nines means having only 31 seconds of downtime in a year, and 5 nines means having only 5 minutes of downtime in an entire year. The higher the service level agreement, the more expensive it will be for your business. There are aspects such as disaster recovery, redundancy, backups. All those will add to your cost as well as your operational efforts and time. Having a strong understanding of the cloud availability for each of the vendors that you're working with is critical. And once you understand the cloud availability, communicating that effectively with your internal business users as well as end users is also critical, so that overall business can assess risk appropriately and plan for it. Almost all the cloud vendors provide their own unique as well as standard tools for cloud administrators to manage the cloud. And there are some differences, as well as there are quite a few similarities as well. You need to be aware of all those. Users is very critical piece. Understanding users, their use cases, how the users are interacting with your infrastructure, what kind of data they are generating, what kind of roles they have, and what kind of permissions you need to create for them are all part of your pre-planning. You cannot deploy without really have a clear understanding of those roles and responsibilities for your users. And these users are end users as well as your customers and business users. Also, coordinating and collaborating with your business users is very critical. These are the people who primarily use the infrastructure to build and run their applications. So having a clear communication and clear working protocol with your internal business users is a very critical role for a cloud administrator. Also, part of pre-planning is to understand and set expectations on incident management and issue tracking. You need to be able to identify the issues very quickly, diagnose them, fix and deploy. And based on the vendor's SLA and MSA, you need to set those expectations with your end users as well as business users. As a cloud administrator, you are expected to manage, not only manage, but also upgrade your infrastructure and software. So in those upgrade cycles, you need to be clearly aware of what are the pieces you are upgrading, and if those are compatible with your existing software and application stack. If they are not compatible, identify the risks and plan accordingly. Backup is also important for easy rollback as well as redundancy and so forth. Almost all cloud operations involve some amount of automation. In fact, automation will actually help you on so many aspects. Ability for you to reduce human errors, deal with hidden complexities of resource availability, helps you consistently deploy right configuration instances, and repeatability is another benefit as part of the standardization. Resource utilization and optimization is another benefit of automation. You can automatically scale up or down and efficiently reduce costs and optimize. Ability for you to allocate and provision infrastructure resources during off-business hours, eliminating the need for human dependency. The types of automation. Typically, you have 3 different types of automation. As a cloud administrator, you have an option to automate your configuration settings, automate your deployment settings, and remote management. Pretty much all the operating systems as well as cloud technologies provide you some capabilities to do auto deployment. There are also many open source tools. Similarly, configuration can be automated There are tools such as Puppet and Chef, which we'll cover in the subsequent videos, will help you automatically configure and deploy. Remote management has been around for a long time, way before cloud computing, but remote management is also a very good tool to have for cloud administrators. Your ability for you to access your infrastructure during lights out. There are protocols and technologies such as IPMI, which stands for Intelligent Platform Management Interface, which is a standard that pretty much most of the hardware vendors support. It gives you access to your servers via the network layer rather than to the operating system. And this helps during power failures and other disasters. As part of remote management, you should also look for infrastructure that allows you to give access to the PDU, power distribution unit, that the server is plugged into. This way you can easily manage and interact with the hardware. As part of scaling, as part of efficiently managing, there's this new breed of solutions called cloud brokers. As the name suggests, it provides multiple services for cloud administrators and companies that are relying on cloud computing. As you can see from this image, this enterprise data center is having to deal with interactions from these multiple clouds, Cloud 3 and Cloud 1 and Cloud 2. So in effect, they are having to have more resources at hand, more people at hand, increase the odds of failure, and so forth. Versus in this enterprise data center, where with a cloud broker, you're able to support multiple enterprise data centers. Cloud brokers help you handle intermediation, aggregation, and arbitrage. Some of the leading solutions out there are Amazon's marketplace. Dell has an offering called Boomi, and of course Rackspace also has cloud broker tools. Here are some of the industry standard resources that will help any cloud administrator learn about the resources and the choices they have as they continue to manage the cloud infrastructure. One of the leading groups is Distributed Management Task Force. DMTF, it stands for, enables effective management of IT systems by creating standards for interoperable IT management. One of the biggest concerns for businesses to take up cloud computing is vendor lock-in, and DMTF helps reduce vendor lock-in challenges. DMTF Cloud Management Initiative is focused on interoperable cloud infrastructure management standards and promotion of such standards. Similarly, Open Data Center Alliance helps you foster cloud agility, your ability to quickly migrate from one cloud vendor to other cloud vendor. They also play a role of an evangelist in helping users migrate to the cloud. They are a very quite active organization. Cloud Standards Customer Council. This is also a end user advocacy group for adoption of cloud. It champions use of standards and interoperability decisions in the interest of end users. and quite a few leaders such as IBM and Cloud One, Dell are part of the steering committee for this group. And Cloud Security Alliance, CSA. It's a non-for-profit organization. It's led by a broad coalition of industry practitioners, corporations, and associations. Their primary focus is audit and security standards for cloud computing. That's the end of it. Thank you.